Can you hear me? Yes? All right, good. Well, nice to see everybody on a Tuesday. Anybody new here today? No? No new people? All right, well, to be clear, non-duality is not a path, yeah? It doesn't have to do primarily with experience, though it will influence experience, but it can't be had as an experience. You can't get it, nor can you lose it, which is nice. The only thing that's really needed is to get a good look at what you're not, and in seeing it as not you, there'll be a shift of interest, and you will suddenly find yourself as what you already always and always and always and already are. Yeah. Does this mean the activity of what you're not stops? Probably not. But the activity will be of the glove, and the hand won't be falling for it anymore. Yes? So the glove the glove, when it introduced to this knowledge, thinks it's the hand, but you've got to be clear, it's just the glove. Yeah. So there's the glove of the thief and the glove of the policeman. Neither of them represent the hand. Yeah. You are that. You just see what you're not by simple recognition. Like Ramana Maharshi, though I'm not a scholar of his teachings, but basically it's how I heard it is, he sat in silence for quite a while, thinking that was enough, but then he realized that wasn't working. So he spoke for the first time in a while, and he spoke about for a few pages full of stuff called Who Am I? Maybe 12 pages when it was transcribed. And it was a question, actually, from whence do we come, really? A question that was presented in the Vedas, which are the oldest scriptures in the world. Yeah. So even back, seemingly, if you believe in time and stuff, even back then, they knew what the problem was. It's an activity that consumes interest and attention to the point you take yourself to be what the activity infers. Yeah. So the activity is talking as if you're a glove, that you were a glove, that you're gonna be a glove, and it's just a given that you're a glove now, and the best you can do is try to escape whatever you think the glove is in, instead of realizing you're not the glove or you're not in the glove. Yeah. And so we try to study about the truth from the glove. We try to experience the truth from the glove as the glove. All the while, the seeking of the truth about the glove is being used to reinforce the glove. Yeah. Who would have thunk? Yeah. The earnestness and the seriousness that you would think would just be just a given in authenticating something actually is used to reinforce the seeming authenticity of what you're not. Yeah. Now, hopefully you've run into this. And if you have, it's filed in there somewhere. You may not have been able to put a word to it or a sense to it, but then you hear non-duality, and non-duality puts a sense to it. Yeah. Non-duality shows you why things failed, because they're failed. Yeah. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do enough. I mean, it wasn't about you not doing enough or doing the wrong thing or wasting time. All of that's just made up. Yeah. Yeah. So finally, after you spent years beating yourself up, I remember it quite well when the first teacher I met when I was 19. This teacher was presented as the Lord of the universe. Now, I didn't see him as the Lord of the universe, so it produced an incredible conflict inside of me, because I wanted to leave the quote-unquote Lord of the universe, but who in their right mind would ever leave the Lord of the universe? I mean, that's going to make me the chump of all chumps, and I'm going to have a karmic repercussion that I can't imagine. So I was in that Clash song, Should I Stay or Should I Go, for about 3 years. And the only thing that finally broke it was getting loaded, because getting loaded gave me a permission not to be perfect. I mean, I would have loved to have found another way, but it did work. When I got loaded, a lot of responsibility came off my shoulders, like getting enlightened, being perfect, being super clear, constantly giving to others. That impossible stress of being perfect was removed. So in a way it worked. Yeah. So so with all this activity, things were learned, even though they don't seem to be applied. But if you run into the right understanding, there will be an application of things that you have learned. Yeah. You will see it had nothing to do with you. Yeah. It's a failed system. You can't experience what you are because you are it. Yeah. Now, if you don't believe that, that's the basis of non-duality. Then you're shopping maybe at the wrong store, because non-duality isn't getting you better. It's stating a fact. You are reality. Now, you are what you're looking for. The seeker is not different than the sought. The seeker is the sought. Yeah. If you don't agree with that, then that's fine, but you're at the wrong store, because that's the essence of non-duality. And therefore, taking that to be a fact, it looks at what isn't a fact in one's life. That's all. And it starts questioning, not from the questioner, but from the answer. It starts questioning the questioner from the answer. Yeah. So there's a quality that's ever available at all times, right where we are. And that quality is awareness. I don't mean pure awareness, meaning there's an impure awareness, just awareness. And that awareness can be turned on the mental activity, instead of being directed by the mental activity and turning the seeing of awareness into a form of looking, which is a blindness to the fact that you're awareness. Yeah. So while you're looking to become more aware, there's a denial of your awareness, isn't it? Or of awareness. Yes or no? If you're increasing something you think you have and can lose, then you're not aware of awareness, in a sense. And the only way you're aware of awareness is as awareness. You're not aware of awareness as Connie or Paul. Yeah? Connie and Paul are non-existing things. Something is animating them. And that animation is part and parcel of a context called what we say awareness or being or big M mind. Now, you have to be something different than what you want to experience. You can't experience what you are because you're engaged. You are the being of what you are. Yeah? You can't know what you are. You can know everything else, but you can't know what you are. You can only be what you are. You can't arrive at where you are. You're already there. And also you can't leave where you are. You're already there. Thank God, eh? Literally. How much shenanigans do we get caught up in when you believe you can achieve something? You also believe on the other side of the coin that you can lose it. Yeah? There's no worse spiritual seeking than people who thought they were awake and then something they did caused them to become unawake. It's like one of the worst spiritual dilemmas You can find someone in, yeah? They have a feeling that they got awake and now they got unawake. Oh, that's painful. I mean, that's suffering, really. So if we're in agreement, just as a supposition, just as you've read the invitation is being ourselves reality. Can you show up for dinner at 9? All right, so let's just agree of the presentation of the invitation is based on being ourselves reality. Being that which is sought by all the seeking, yeah? Being what's looking right now. As St. Francis supposedly says, what's looking is what you're looking for. Do we agree with that as the basic assumption of non-duality? If we do, we turn away from that because obviously, if you are that which you're looking for it is going to be an obstacle. Yes? Obviously. If you are what you're looking for, then looking for it has to be questioned, not the what you are. You question the looking for it. You don't. You just brought to certain conclusions. Yeah. And then what happens? What you thought was going to take a whole lot of interest and concentration becomes more obvious when you lose interest in it as a topic. The real liberation is from the need to be liberated. Yeah. That which gets out of the body is that which was never in a body. Yeah. So when there's an appearance of the body, it's not sweating it that much. Yeah. It's the body identification that wants to escape the body. Yeah. It's the head that wants to get out of the head, or as we say in recovery, self wants to get out of self. Yeah? That's the biggest movement. And it's such a beautiful strategy because it knows on a certain level that it can't get out of self. So the biggest form of being in self is wanting to get out of it, trying to get out of it. All the time is the biggest in. Yeah. So this is a simple understanding. Okay, are we going to try to clock how fast timelessness is? No. We're going to look at what happens. What happens when the revelation that you're a lion hits you at the pond and you leave the old lion and you leave the reflection, you leave the surface of the water and you start walking away. I guarantee the mental state is going to arise, living and pointing as if it's a sheep to an incredible lion experience it just had. Yeah. And now suddenly you're the sheep again that wants to be a lion or wants to become a lion, but it can't become a lion as a sheep because it already is a lion. Yeah. So the point is to look at that sheep understanding, that sheep idea from the lion, not using the sheep to look for the lion, but see the sheeping from the lion. Yeah. And then there's a negation of the assumption that the sheep is you, yeah? And then there's no need to affirm you already are, in this example, a lion. You don't need to affirm it. All there is a negation of the sheep idea, and the lion will affirm itself, yes? And when it's affirming itself, you'll see the mental state try to claim it and pin it on the sheep, and you'll see it from the lion. And then you'll see how the sheep plays a role of catching the sheep. You'll see it as a lion. Yeah. And now you'll be from the bondage of the twin selves, the thief and the policeman. Yeah. You'll see it. And then from there on, there's no rote way. There's no, oh, this is how it's going to look, and this is what they're going to do, and this is where they're going to live, and this is what they're going to wear. Yeah. None of that. That's all freaking like art play. Yeah. But the basic fact has become obvious. Not to anyone, it's just fucking obvious. And then things, you start seeing blue is blue and red is red and green is green. And I'll tell you, in this case, the seeking for anything that was called spiritual just dropped, like completely. Does that have to be the case? No, it can do whatever it wants. But in this case, it dropped completely because I mean, it's just common sense. If the seeker is the sought, that's the end of seeking, eh? At least for the seeker. Yes? I don't see how it resurrects all the time. I don't. It gets knocked out and somehow it gets back up and continues the fight. Yeah. So, yes, that's how it was heard here, and that's what's happened with me, as an example. I went to satsang, and satsang put an end to a lot of stuff. That's what happened. Not the satsang, it was the facilitator, but things came to an end. Some came to screeching halts, some just lost momentum, others were seen from afar, and I could see where they would end, so there was no going. A lot of ways, but the fact is, it was very, very disarming, and exactly where I thought I was and what I was and what I looked like and everything out had absolutely no relevance concerning this. Yes? And I saw clearly that which demonstrates no thought and effort to be what it is. How can it be approached through thought and effort? It just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, so here you go. So if this was Buddhism, it would be laying down Buddhism. Yeah. If this was yoga, it was, what's it called? What's that? Dead man's pose. Yeah. That's how it would look. Yeah. If this was a 3-ring circus, it'd be 1 ring, maybe. Not even. Yeah. The high wire would be 4 feet off the ground. It would just be, yes. The Herculean feats would be maybe, lifting a latte to the mouth. There wouldn't be incredible, extraordinary, extreme demonstrations. No, it's just dog shit awareness. You're constantly awake to being here, sleeping, up, dozing, active. Yeah. It's before any idea that came after that there was something I needed to do. That was before that. It's always before it. Yeah. When you arrive, it tells you on having never left. When you arrive, it tells you it's always been this way. Why isn't it that we're not getting it? Because what claims to be the hero of that believes in its own fucking formulation, its own programming. It cannot believe that things could be that easy. It has to have some kind of martyrdom and sacrifice and giving up and whatever, strenuous freaking, to prove to itself. Yes? To prove to itself it's worthy or some insane thing. Yeah. The last permission that's ever given is by you to you, really. So I love coming to this place because there's dreaming oneself out of the dreaming, and as you do, the dream will get happier. That's fine. That's cool. And then there's then there's Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific time. Yeah. I feel the message of non-duality is not a path to illumination, but it will illuminate whatever path you seem to be on, for sure. But it is definitely not a path to illumination. You would be using the light to find the light. That doesn't work, yes? So anybody have anything to share or whatever? Yeah. Sina, take over. Check it out.
Chris has his hand up.
Who? Chris? Chris, how are you?
Hi, I'm sorry, I was muted. I'm good, Paul. How are you?
Good.
You seem really animated, which is awesome.
I have something tickling my feet, which you don't know.
Okay.
One of my
cool.
oldest devotees. Yes.
I always have questions,
I have
even
no idea
though
what's going on down here.
I seem to be rapidly realizing the futility of asking questions, but
Oh,
I could.
Huh?
You talk a lot about the seeker and the sought, and you are what you're looking for. I don't feel like I'm looking for something except what I told you before, which is, you've said like a lot of people think, oh, they're seeking for some state where they never experience any stress, even when they're like, falling out of an airplane or something like that. My situation is I just don't want to be anxious all the time. That's what I'm seeking, I guess. I'm not.
You don't want to. Oh, you don't want to be anxious all the time.
All the time. Yeah, I'm not seeking some blissful state of not having the ups and downs of life. I just don't want to have the constant.
Chris, you're already successful because when you're in deep sleep, there's no one there to be anxious. So all the time, you're not anxious all the time.
Fair enough.
That's a story, yes? Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with it because it throws around all the time pretty loosely. But factually, it's not true. If you jumped in, if I pushed you into some really cold salt water, you wouldn't be anxious. You'd be freezing. Yeah. Something would presuppose the anxiety as being all the time. Yeah.
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 I had an accident about 3 weeks ago. I ride a high wheel bike. It's very, very high. And I took a really hard fall off it, or I was almost knocked unconscious. And for about 10 minutes, I didn't feel anxious. My body just got hit so hard. It just snapped me so into that piece of meat laying on the pavement situation. I was like, Why do I actually feel good about this right now?
Yeah, you see, sometimes you need a shock to get the free sample.
The free sample.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you something that happened with me. I was boogie boarding at this beach I used to go to, and I had suffered concussions before, like in 2000 in Australia, hitting my head on the bottom. So I was on a wave and I hit my head on the bottom again. But this time I hit it and my system shut down, my nervous system. So luckily I popped up on my back because I couldn't even yell, but I couldn't move anything, arms or legs. Yeah. And so the whole thing was like a pause, Pause. Everything, yeah, just the head wasn't moving, thoughts weren't happening. The whole thing got whacked like a sledgehammer. They took me out of the water and stuff, and so there's been a vacancy of thought for like 10 minutes or so. I arrive at I'm laying on this longboard, and they always cut the wetsuit off. And the first thoughts that I had was basically, let me die here. I can't afford the ambulance. That was the first thing my head came up with. It was going to cost too much money to save me, so I might as well just die. Now, that was clearly not me. Yes. Yes. It was obvious.
Okay.
it showed up, it appeared after being absent for 10 minutes, and it jumped into the fray with its take. And it was really quite naked to see it because it hadn't been even showing up for a few minutes. So when I saw it, it was a very beautiful, it's definitely an emperor without any clothes on moment. Yeah. And it made a pretty big impact. And I noticed, like, when people are riding bikes and stuff and they're starting to fall off a cliff, they always try to save the bike. They don't give a shit about. It's such a weird value thing, isn't it? So you get to see whatever is masquerading as you doesn't have you in the highest interest. Yeah, it really doesn't. You're less important than a bicycle. You'll get, you know what I mean? So, I mean, do you really want that to be your director? You want that
Well,
to be,
no.
you want that to be playing God? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I am constantly reminded of the, I don't know anything. I can't control anything. And I'm, as you put it, I'm not management material.
Yeah, but you know what? You can learn things to not have the anxiety demonstrate so much through the body. You can do that. Yeah. Yeah. I had a thing with I had an incident once that pushed my blood pressure super high. Yeah. So my body was on like mortal alert for long stretches of time during the day. It was quite uncomfortable. So I found that acupuncture, and he gave me these herbs that they give to monks who have meditated for like 40 hours straight or something. And these things helped, yeah. They weren't directed at the head whatsoever. They were just trying to chill out the body because the body was reacting
It is
to
a
the.
body problem for me.
Hmm? Hmm?
It is the body. Like I don't have anxious thoughts. My body just hasn't gotten the message.
Oh, well, then these things will really help, I swear. Yeah,
Okay.
because sometimes the body's being put to an old use. So it's definitely because it's the major touchstone of the story of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah. So sometimes it takes a while for the body to catch up to the rest of the situation.
Just writing.
Yeah. I mean, I have the same thing. Because I got run over by car twice, and
In the same night.
a lot of bad stuff has happened, shot at, and everything else, and beat up by the cops and stuff. The body's taken a lot of wax, yeah, and those things were soaked in as impressions, and then they attempt to express, yeah, and usually they can be inappropriate because they show a great sense of stress when there's no stress being triggered, yeah. That stuff I feel actually finds a better balance. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah, you're welcome, my friend. Seriously. Uh, yeah. We say in AA sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but these things are going to materialize. And I'm paraphrasing if you're open to it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
There any more questions? You can raise your virtual hand by going to the Zoom toolbar and clicking reactions and then raise your hand.
See, if I had a question and I had to do all of that, I wouldn't have asked the question. It's
I
too
have
much.
an unlimited supply of questions, so if you need anything, just let me know.
Too much. uh,
So now we have to know what that herb was. Our curiosity has been piqued.
I'm selling it under the umbrella of Zen Bitch Slap. Go to the merch button.
Seriously?
No,
Okay, there's a plug for the website.
no, there's no magic elixir. No, I don't
Oh,
know what it.
Angie has her hand up.
Who?
Angie.
Oh, Angie. All right. Come on,
Hi,
Angie.
Paul.
Hey.
It's not really a question. I don't know what to ask, but it's more like a share about something I noticed this weekend. And it was a thought in retrospect. So I was just shopping at Costco, and so it was busy, lots of people, stuff happened. I got a new card, and someone was not happy that the cashier asked me to go over to the other register, and a little bit of a complications. But it's just driving home, this thought kind of caught up with me that I didn't think anything else on top of what was happening. So there was no interpretation of what that person might be feeling. I mean, I did apologize, but I didn't think that I did anything wrong. So in retrospect, it was very interesting to see how this concept of non-doership was in action without me realizing in the moment. So I didn't have to remind myself, oh, I'm not the doer, or
Yeah.
oh, I'm not the hand, I'm just the glove, None of that happened in the moment. It's just in retrospect, I noticed, oh, so that happened, it's just one thing after another. And as you said, just ordinarily happening without any other stories, without the cherry on top.
Yeah.
So
Great.
so I'm thinking maybe after a while, maybe that thought that came out to me after the fact, maybe even that's gonna dissolve, and it might not come up, and it's just gonna be a continuous, hopefully, stream of things happening, and without any other interpretations or
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was interesting to notice, because it was quite a bit of involvement with other people and situations and things. And it was just, things happening. That's all.
Well, the way you're smiling, honey, I don't think I've seen that yet since
Yeah.
I met you. So that's nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, seriously.
So it
This is
looks
what
like
happens.
there's a deepening. It's just like when you learn a skill, like a physical movement or anything, and then it just kind of sinks in. I feel
Yeah.
maybe the same thing happens, like you don't have to consciously think about applying these concepts. They kind of happen,
Yeah,
automatically.
exactly. It's a
Yeah,
very disarming because what's already there doesn't need any coaxing to come out. It's here already. Yeah.
yeah,
This idea of always having to do with us becomes a like a definitely a way after point. Yeah. And then there's a loss of interest in that. Yes.
So exactly as you say, repetition has a lot of value, because that kind of sinks those concepts in, and then you can just see it happening, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. You go on, yes, because we see what repetition can do for something else, the head repeats constantly. So we're basically using that poison for as a remedy. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's always about because uh, a lot of people didn't like the example, but I like the example of it's almost like spiritual sperm, so to speak. Yeah. Because it's difficult for things to happen to the egg, there's got to be a lot of it. And so a lot of the sperm get released, and basically a lot of them get knocked down, but because they overwhelm the system, something gets through and ignites a conception of an idea in the egg, which is I'm not that, let's say. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then obviously then there's almost the egg itself causes the hits after that. Yeah. First it gets ignited, but then it's popping itself up ideas. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
just needed to get one egg, one sperm into the egg, and then the egg does the rest in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And this is what satsang is like. You go there, things are said, you feel a lot, and then some stuff brings an open-ended, debatable topic to a dead end. You're just done. Yeah. And what happens when all that attention and interest isn't just going down dead-end streets, it enlivens or enriches your day. Yeah.
and it does feel like this way is more like of a relaxation into what is already there.
Yes, it is for sure. And
Yeah.
it's not even a relaxation. It's just what relaxes the body is not being you. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's just the body, it does much better, really, than if it's held as the center of the universe. It's a little too much for it. Yeah. So,
Yeah, but the mind did pop up in the end to say, hey, this happened.
yeah, but that's all right, because that way you're honoring it at least. So in a weird way, it's honoring its appearing demise. There's nothing to have been demised, but it's sort of like that. There's an honoring of the changes, which is great, I feel. Yeah. It builds about a huge gratitude, which as an action figure, that's a pretty high quality to vibrate with. Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't mind the noticing of it working, because it brings about a humility to the system and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking in time that might happen less and less often as this
Well, you'll find
experience.
out, won't you?
Yeah.
There you go. Then you can report back.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're smiling a lot today, Angie. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today was another busy day, and I even noticed because it was my first day at the office, and then I had other activities after work, so it was quite a busy day. And I just noticed a little bit of that novelty too, but from a point of, from a point of being back, sitting back and just seeing what was happening. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Great.
So,
Yes. Very nice.
yeah.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And Stuart?
That's lovely. Eh?
Yeah.
Good.
Stuart has his hand up.
Well, I think it's
I can't hear you yet. I can't hear you well.
hello? Can you hear me, Paul?
There's some weird feedback, Stuart. Can you take your headphones out?
Oh,
Take your headphones out.
There you go.
Let me try it now.
Yeah, I saw
Perfect.
these in because my
Yeah,
wife
now
is
it's
sitting.
working.
Pardon? Is that better?
Yes.
Cool. I was thinking about probably similar to the last two people there, the thing with anxiety and say body trauma. It's what am I trying to say here? I think that there's something that's sort of seemingly in the mental state and the body state that wants to hang on to that. That's something that's sticky, very sticky with it. It's just something will happen 40 years ago, and it's sort of like you got a lifetime of that. But I think also for me, for this one, it's like certainly recently more noticeable. Like learning to live. It's not learning. It's like there's a sense of living with something rather than trying to escape from it, which is it creates a lot of ease, more ease than what I've ever had.
Yes, you can cohabitate.
Cohabitate, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's and that's even with the body.
Its appearance doesn't verify your appearance.
That's right. Yeah. That's true, because that's what I feel like. It's like, well, yeah, there's anxiety happening, or there's a body issue happening, but it's not who I am. It's just happening. It's just part of in the whole sense, which is really nice. And the other thing too, Paul, I was going to say, like about maybe 15 years ago or something, I had an accident in on a scooter I was driving. Do you have roundabouts over there?
Few of them, not like Australia, but a couple of here and there.
Yeah, so I was on the scooter going through a roundabout, and this guy on the left who's supposed to give way to me never gave way to me. And I was yelling at him, but at the same time, another car came and whacked me while I was yelling at him. And but the thing being was, it's almost like something took over this in a sense, and it was pretty peaceful flying off that scooter. It was amazing to me. It was like a real deep sense of peace. Yeah,
isn't that funny? When something happens, time seems to stop, and
it's amazing.
All the fear you had, when something actually happens, there's no fear.
Yes.
But all the anxiety you have about that thing ever happening, but when it happens, there's no fear.
No fear at all. It was great. And then when I hit the ground, no.
Yeah, exactly. It was short-lived, but then you got whacked into dreaming again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's sort of funny. I think it was pretty much the same in one sense. First, really quickly, how's the body? Have I broken anything? And then it was like the scooter. How's the scooter? You know, and it was like,
For me, it would be the scooter first, probably. But you see, when that gets shook up, the head is like resting on a knowing. It has a sense that it knows everything, which is completely fallacious. Yeah. And it's nice when its little balloon gets popped. Yeah. But there's a feeling, it's good. You've been afraid of something for so long. It's got to be fucking terrible. But when you actually get into the act, there's no fear at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And in a weird way, you're more alive at that moment than you've ever been alive. So it's a trip. Eh?
Yeah. It's not noble, but it is a trip.
There's a lot of revelation in just life. It tells you a lot. Yeah. If you can just read the tea leaves. Yeah. There's a statement in the Course in Miracles. It leaves you with a question: what can a failed system show you? But to me, it can show you it's failed. Yeah.
Definitely.
So the mental state, knowing it or not knowing it, there's like a huge reliance on it, and it's not reliable.
No.
And it doesn't matter if it's the feeling of a person relying on it or there's just reliance on it. What's being relied on either way is not reliable. It's just the way it goes. And it's really, it's like bizarro world. The greatest security is knowing everything is insecure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The greatest certainty is everything's uncertain. Yeah. And you can find peace in what your head says is the source of most agitation, but you find peace there.
Yeah. And it takes away that reliance on a system that has it's sort of built to fail and wants to show you what you're not.
Completely. That's why when you do have a traumatic event, it's out to lunch usually. It waits it shows up after and starts saying you shouldn't have done that or whatever. But it doesn't take any of the blows. No. So it's nice to see you, Stuart.
That's wonderful. That's what I wanted to say.
Thanks for everyone's share today.
Paul. Thank you.
Thanks for everyone's shares today. Very good. The shares today have been, pleasant. Anyone else?
I don't see any hands yet. Oh wait, yes I do. Chris.
Hey, how much time have we got? I have a question, Paul. I've heard you talk about the cop and the robber a lot, and I don't know what you're talking. I've not heard that story.
All right. So you know duality, right?
Okay.
There's two sides of every coin. Yes. A day there's dark and light. Yes. Action, reaction. Yeah. There's a dualistic rendering of this event here. Yeah. There's subject, object, all of these things. So let's say for a period of your life, you felt like you were being led by something, and then something gets revealed and you see it as an object that maybe you call it self, yeah? And you see that object now, it's been objectified, and there's another role, the subjective, that's objectifying it, yeah? So now there was a sense of you for as long as you were acting out, and then you start seeing that sense of you as something foreign to you, because now you're in a different sense of you. Yeah, both of those are self. So the one is, let's say, the thief. So, oh, the thief is what got me in trouble and everything like this. And now you've got the thief under surveillance, and the policeman of self is walking the beat, checking out the neighborhood to see what the objective thief is doing. Yes? Yes? So now that's the selfing. The selfing is a two-sided event. Yeah? That which was taken to be subject, that gets objectified, the subjectivity that allowed that to happen has now been objectified. Yeah? In a more subtle way. So now self is looking at itself and calling the thing I'm looking at is the thief, and I'm looking from the policeman, but it's both aspects of selfing, yes? There's an identification. The seeing has been identified as a seer. One was the seen now, which is the thief, and one is still the seer, which is the policeman. Before, there was just vaguely you, and basically you were seen as the thing, as the thief, yes? Now there's another aspect of you taking the role of the policeman, looking at the older aspect as the thief, yeah? So let's say when the policeman takes over, perfection, you're driven by, I've got to be the perfect meditator or whatever and shit like that. And really, you start bemoaning the lovely days of being the thief because the policeman seems a lot worse. At least I had some fun as the thief. Yeah. But both of them are what comes about when the claiming of the seeing occurs. Yeah. Yes. So what allows you to see something as not you is not another you. It's the seeing, it's the awareness. The awareness has allowed something to be revealed. The mental state claims that revelation to imply it was revealed to me. Yeah, another identified activity. Yes? So by seeing the first and not the second, it actually furthers the bondage of self. When you see both and realize you're neither, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was great.
So that's what we're trying to imply is with the thief and policeman.
No, that was really great. Thanks.
All right. I read it first in one of the sayings of Ramana. I've lost the pages, but it starts with the presupposing of a non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation for itself. And if that's the case, your spiritual practices are being used to reinforce a non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? And then he went off into the policeman thief conundrum. So it's a beautiful, like a 2-paragraph part. I don't have the book and I've lost wherever it was. So, yeah.
Hey, Paul, we have 7 minutes left and Anish has a question.
Right. Neat.
Paul, can you hear me, Paul?
Yes.
I'm seeing a lot of something doing for me these days that I wasn't able to do myself before. And I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. Things are happening that the self wouldn't have been able to do. But I also see an activity of me wanting to make or improve my life. That part is coming from the selfing, right? That part is coming from still some form of old identification, right?
Well, there's always going to be a thing, but I don't see anything wrong with something that finds itself in time wanting to get better. It's when there's the claiming of it, and then it gets into an identification is molded out of those activities. Yes, just to be aware of that. But the action figure, in some people, it's trying to improve itself to have an easier time. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong or right with that. So, yeah. So it wanting to improve itself. I just always want to be somewhat conscious of the mental's reaction to consciousness and contact, how the mental state claims whatever's going on to reinforce its narrative. Yeah, it's not something that you and I are doing. It's something that you and I are seeing, and then sometimes that seeing is construed in such a manner we're identified as that thing. Yeah. So that to me is the point. What the idea of Paul getting better is fine. Yeah. The idea that I'm that Paul that wants to get better is something else. Yeah. So I can travel much lighter through Paul getting better when it seems to fail, or he's the end of a joke or something like that, or he runs into the irony of my wanting it to be so makes it the opposite. Yeah. So he can have a good laugh. Then being completely identified as that Paul, that's put a lot of meaning into getting better, and at the expense of a lot of other openings, sort of like here and now. Yeah. So I don't have any rote answer for anything. It's just where I am at the time. I see something a certain way. But I do believe that mind is giving whatever comes after it meaning. And so, like the idea of non-doing, the way it was presented to me is a doing without a doer. Yeah. So it's not like you don't do anything. There's doing, but you become clear that when the head states that you are the doer of it, you're not buying it anymore. Yeah. So then the doing is sort of free. And they would say then the doing wouldn't be the carrier of a karmic impression. Yeah. So a doing without a doer, doesn't leave much of a carbon footprint in the karmic, trajectory, so to speak. Yeah. So to me, that's what we are tuned in on. I just want to have, because I didn't know what was going on until I did, and it formulated into a way of sharing about the mental state and the speed that it supplants us with a story, with an action figure, and a false alpha and a false omega now is giving direction to everything else. It's just, and it became quite noticeable. And I saw that it came after what's here. What's here is always here. that thing shows up and disappears. Yeah. So, it doesn't make any sense to believe I'm living from that if I'm seeing that which is saying I'm living from from something before. It's just, I would say, oops, it's sort of like, yeah. So if let's say if we only knew the world of Zoom, yeah, we would think that we got to the meeting by our arms, but it was actually the feet that got us there. Once you saw and heard the message, it was the feet, you would read, oh yeah, it wasn't the arms. It never has been the arms. It was always the feet that got me to the meeting. Yeah, it's sort of that simple, really. Yeah, so the action figure has its drive. Some people have more drive than I do in some topics. I may have more drive than others in other topics. It's just predilections, tendencies, and they find whatever. They find expression. I have no problem with that, Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to see you, Anish. You always make me smile. Yeah.
Thank you for your service, Paul. Really appreciate you.
And you are already that, Anish. It's beaming out of you so much. Don't be fooled by the head. Yeah. The light is its own battery. Yes. It doesn't need to be charged. It just needs to be let out. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Paul.
Thanks. Yes.
We need to say goodbye now.
Yeah, I want to say something. You don't know how lovely a lot of you are, I don't feel. And I'm not talking about the body, but some of you are lucky in that level also. But I just mean like something that was coming through, let's say Angie's face. I hadn't seen that before. Yeah, and Anish is like beaming out. Yes, and because it's not a niche, it's not. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have stories that we're somehow lost or stuff. They're just stories. Yeah, you are what you're looking for. Yeah, yeah. So just
And
wanted to point that out.
as you say, Paul, it's so simple, it's so simple. It's like you don't need to think about doing anything, it's just things are gonna happen. Whatever needs to happen in the moment, it's happening. It's just like that.
Yes. We're gonna have an Angie laugh soon. That's gonna be
Yeah.
good. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We're right at the event horizon for an Angie laugh. That's great.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna use a dog shit awareness as well.
There you go. Yes.
So
Dog shit awareness.
there's nothing special about it. It's just what is, it's just that.
There you go, Angie. Come on. Yeah. Let's turn it into the Angie show. We like this. Yes, very good. Yeah. The news broadcast has turned into sitcom. I like it. I like it.
As George Costanza said, a show about nothing.
That's right. Exactly. You're on it, baby. You're on it. All right. So, Saina, thank you for your service. Yes. Yeah. Connie, there she is, lurking. There she is. We got Bill C. Nice to see you. We got Stuart. Yep. We got Kathleen. There she is. She's in the mini. Well, that's a pretty big lazy boy herself. Jesus.
Paul, I just wanted to tell you the other night I had a dream where there was too much dog shit to pick up.
That's the first rude awakening. Yeah. It leads to realizing you're not the dog. No. All right. Nice to see you, honey.
Thank
Tommy, thank you, Tommy, for showing up. Appreciate it. From Ireland. Julie, Nice to meet you, Julie. Dono, as always. Chris, there he is. We got Inca. I had the pleasure of meeting Inca. It's very nice. So, Angie, a pleasure today. Yes, very nice. Jacqueline, thank you for being Jacqueline. Yes. We got Lucas P. Nice to see you, Lucas. Kelly, Zoe. There they go. Hey, Anish, you're very, very fortunate. Your book ended by Kelly and Zoe. You're in very good hands. Yes. You're like, you've won the big lucky square today. That's pretty good. We got Joe. Hey, Joe. How are you? Joe's holding something in his hand. I can't tell. Oh, wow, that's
The
cool.
light. It's
Oh, the light. Yes, I like that.
I'm beaming as well.
There you go. We got
Paul,
Joy.
years ago in Toronto, and first time I see you in a long time. It's good to be back.
Oh, going back to Toronto. I don't know. All the people that used to handle me have moved. So,
We'll take care of you in Toronto. You won't need a handler.
yeah, well, I usually have to have someone set the shit up. So,
We're
Yeah.
not competitive.
yeah. We'll do it. We'll pull it out. Who is this talking?
Joe in Toronto.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, Joe. We'll work it out if you want. Get in touch with me. I'm going back east at the end of the month, mostly. But it seems like I'm going to do a lot of recovery stuff. But yeah,
Cool.
we're going to be in Great Barrington, which isn't that far from the border, I don't think.
Yeah.
5 hours or so. 6 hours. Yeah.
Cool.
Come down to Dover, New Jersey.
That's not far. So it's a reasonable drive. Would be cool.
Dover, New Jersey. I've had people come from Toronto. Yeah, you're gonna be surrounded by recovered alcoholics and addicts. Wow.
Good.
Make sure you keep your wallet in a zippered pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, yeah, hopefully I'll see you, Joe. Yeah.
Cool. Likewise.
We got George. George has taken a vow of not speaking. Yes. He looks very good. David B. David, Grateful Dave. Nice to see you. We got Joy with a dog. Yes. Let's see. Where is everyone else? Oh, Sue, my latte lady. Donate Here is here again. Yes. It's an endless pit. Donate Here. Jamie, nice to see you or not see you. Angie, Julie, everyone else. Kerry, I saw Judith, my friend from Hawaii. They've disappeared. Thank you so much. We'll be around. Just go to zenbitchslap.com. Under events, all the talks, and we'll be back east June 24th to the 30th, and it's going to be on there too. And yes, travel well. If you love to donate, that would be great. My lavish lifestyle always needs polishing. Yes, it's a very difficult thing to maintain this high level of decadence that I've become accustomed to. So, all right, see you. Bye-bye.